This is The Scoop for Friday.
I'm Sean Canan with the WMNF News headlines. Florida Senate Majority Leader Jason Pizzo announced yesterday that he is leaving the Democratic Party and switching to no party affiliation. He says that, quote, the Democratic Party in Florida is dead. Pizzo said he sent his voter registration change in and would ask the Senate Democratic Caucus to choose a new leader. Here's part of his speech in the Senate.
Our constituents are craving practical leaders, not political hacks. We are entrusted to be guided by our conscience, and while I suppose it's easier in theory than it is in application, even my worst detractors have no valid claim that I can be bullied, that I can be bought, or even borrowed for a special interest.
The Tampa Bay Times reports that Senator Chevron Jones, a Miami Gardens Democrat, would not say that his party was dead, but says there's a lot of work to do. A proposal to carve an exemption in Florida's voter-approved minimum wage is not expected to pass during this year's legislative session. Senate President Ben Alberton told reporters yesterday, I don't love it, to tell you the truth. I think if somebody works, whether they're being an apprentice or whatever, the minimum wage is in the state constitution for a reason. When pressed if the bill is dead, Alberton added, I would expect so. The proposal sought to allow people to voluntarily accept pay below the minimum wage when employed in positions deemed a work-study, internship, pre-apprenticeship, or other similar work-based learning opportunity. A Trump administration executive order in March ordered the reduction of 7 agencies, including the Institute of Museum and Library Services. Since then, most IMLS staff have been put on administrative leave. WMNF's Caitlin Serafin reports on how that could impact local libraries.
Institute of Museum and Library Service supports museums and libraries throughout the United States through grant-making, research, and policy development. In the 2024 fiscal year, Florida received $7.9 million from the agency, which assisted in the creation and maintenance of local library programs. This includes the Interlibrary Loan Program, which lets library patrons borrow materials that are unavailable in their own library. The Southeast Florida Information Network is one of 5 multi-library cooperatives in the state of Florida. The executive director of Cephlin says that the recent actions leave libraries in an uncertain position when it comes to creating their budget. That could impact the programs libraries may be able to offer. For WMNF News, I'm Caitlin Serafin.
Florida's annual legislative session is poised to enter its final scheduled week, but lawmakers do not appear likely to pass major property insurance changes. The Senate, which will not meet today, is not slated to take up property insurance bills on Monday or Tuesday. Today, the House is expected to consider a bill that includes issues such as setting new standards about payments that insurers make to affiliated companies. Those are payments that some lawmakers have alleged could mask insurer profits. But the Senate has not taken up such issues. House Speaker Daniel Perez says property insurance problems have not been fixed. He also said the Senate, I don't think, was as bullish as we were on trying to continue to solve for the property insurance problem that we have in the state. Yesterday was Holocaust Remembrance Day, and people around the world are paying their respects to the millions of lives lost. WMNF's Chris Young reports from a commemoration in St. Petersburg honoring victims.
Ravine Kretschmer, 51. Ida Kretschmer, 20. Pesha Kretschmer, 58.
A small group of people sat in silence and paid their respects at the James Museum as the names of Holocaust victims were read aloud. Maxine Kaufman says she felt contemplative after leaving the theater.
You have to learn about the mistakes and what has happened in history so that we don't repeat it over and over again.
Kicking off with St. Pete Mayor Ken Welch, city and community leaders joined other volunteers who took turns in a continuous in-person reading that lasted from 10 to 5. Mike Eigel is the interim CEO of the Florida Holocaust Museum and grandchild of Holocaust survivors. He says the event is about resilience and perseverance.
We've been doing this for the past several years, and it's continued to sort of grow in its prominence. And I couldn't be more appreciative of that because, you feel like the victims are looking down on you and, and saying thank you. I existed. I mattered.
Chris Young, WMNF News, St. Petersburg.
It'll be sunny, breezy, and dangerously hot today with near record high temperatures in the low 90s. Tonight, clear with overnight lows in the mid 60s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with near record high temperatures in the low 90s. I'm Sean Canan with the WMNF News headlines.
This is The Scoop, recorded at WMNF Tampa.